Green Ball is 1000% fake. And if you don't know what Green Ball is, it's the final boss, as The Rock would say nowadays, when it comes down to these deep web, dark web, spooky stories where somebody holds a flashlight under their chin and tells you on how a bunch of nasty things happened to kids and how they witnessed it, and they're gonna traumatize you. They're gonna give you their traumataz via their pipers and their writings and stuff like that and throw it online. And no one's ever been caught for these horrific acts. So you had Daffy Love, you have Baby Burger, and right here we have Green Ball. The last one, but knowing me, as soon as I go over it, another one's gonna pop up. Review it, you gotta go over it. Like, literally, all you have to do is put on your thinking cap. This is the thinking cap right here, so I wear it every video. It's not hard to debunk. It's just the most craziest thing you ever heard. Quick summary over these stories that are just the most ridiculous shit you've ever heard. Daffy Love is like Peter Scully, who came all the way from Australia into the US, which he's never came into the US. He collected a whole bunch of kids like Dragon Balls and started doing disgusting things to them. And of course, 7 to 8 kids went missing. No one's ever heard about it. Then you had Baby Burger, where you had 2 gourmet chefs grab a woman and her baby, take her to the woods, and then turn the baby into a Whopper combo, make that a large, and ate it right in front of her. Which at this point, now I understand why women would rather be in the woods with a bear. At least the bear's gonna eat your kid, not turn it into a fucking Krabby Patty. And then now you got Green Ball, which, if those stories sounded ridiculous, wait until you hear Green Ball. Because Green Ball puts the fucking dick in ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. So, Green Ball is about a whole bunch of guys, right? 3 guys. They got like this giant basement. They put a whole bunch of bathtubs in it. And then they just start Shaquille O'Neal dunking kids in acid. That's the story for you, which a lot of people believe in these stories because they heard it when they're 12 to 13 years old. So they were very young, very gullible. And when they heard it online, they sat there and they shivered. And they're, there's no way this is real. This is no way, right? There's no way. And nobody ever told them different throughout these years. So like it's been sat there and reinforced. And you know, you look into it and other people on the forum sites reinforce it. And other people lie that they saw it. So it just beats it into your head more. It's kind of like me when I believed in Santa for the first 23 years of my life. I just found out last week is not even real. And that was by complete accident. It was ridiculous. And now I understand that it's not real. And now it's just, I'm coming to the point where it's like, all those years where I sat there just sitting on a stranger's lap. And Santa some years was getting very handsy. Okay, he wasn't just rubbing my back. He did a little bit more than that. And it was even weirder while I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, Santa, I want a PlayStation for Christmas. You know what I want for Christmas? You. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And why do you smell like cigarettes, Santa? Get off of me. And it was just the weirdest experiences ever. But that's not my point. Green Ball is fake. And it's so fake that even Takedown Man from back in the day, like 10 years ago, said that it was fake himself.
It's all bullshit. If it's real, if it's true, if it's not. And is what happened is it's just a creepypasta. It's just a story.
He himself said that it was fake. And mind you, a lot of people think me and Takedown Man have like a beef or a hatchet that has been buried. Like, listen, people, here's what happened. A little quick summary between me and Takedown Man. I called him out in the Baby Burger video, and this guy goes around just making up shit, and I don't get it. I don't get it. And the worst part is, those videos get 250,000 views, and now they're on TikTok. There's people on TikTok talking about Baby Burger as recent as a month to 2 ago. Did an interview, couple live streams. Pretty cool guy. He came out and straight up admitted, he was like, yeah, you know, made a couple mistakes. You know, I shouldn't have believed in it. But again, the internet was a different time back in the day. We didn't have the same amount of information that's out now. And he fell for the American guinea pig videos over here. So that's what that is. Essentially, he just straight up and said, yeah, my bad. And then like 2 or 3 people were like, no, Cole Raven, finish him. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, he's like the one human being on the entire internet that was like, yeah, I made a mistake. I'm taking accountability. And it's not even like a huge mistake. Okay, he got duped. He got gullibled. Again, he took accountability. It's it. It's over. God, man. So people just want me to put his head on a pike for no reason. Jesus. Anyway, going on from that, we're going to be talking about Green Ball. I have 3 papers right here of some of the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. And you're going to hear it too. And we're going to go ahead and debunk this together. In classic Cole Raven fashion, let's take it from the top and get right into it. So Green Ball starts off with this guy saying that it's possibly the worst thing he's ever heard / seen, but that's just a theory. I don't think this guy knows what a theory is. That's not how a theory works. It's like, imagine if I said that my favorite color is purple, but that's just a theory. What if I dig a little deeper? My favorite color is going to be blue. It either is or it's not. Okay, it's either the worst thing you've ever seen / heard or it's not. There's no fucking theorizing over it. Then after that, he said it's made by the same people or that it's not made by the same people who made Daffy Love. which, yeah, I think we'd all come to that conclusion that it's not made by the same people who made Daft Love, because the people who made Daft Love don't exist. Daft Love doesn't exist. I'm glad you came to that conclusion. So now we kind of know that green ball is a fruit that came off the Daft Love tree. So this Daft Love seed was planted, it grew, green ball comes down from it. But if I already proved that the tree and the seed don't even exist, then the apple can't exist. An apple can't come from nothing. It has to come from something. It just doesn't make any sense. So right here, I can just end the video. I would say go home, but this is my home. I could just crawl into bed and fantasize about your mother, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to go through it. Not because I have to, but because I already wrote 3 pages, and we're going to go ahead and go through all the hard work I put into this, okay? We're not just throwing this out. So after this, he says that he saw the first 5 minutes out of this 20-minute video on the deep web. As per usual, it always happens on the deep web, because that's where the cool stuff goes down. Even though the deep web is about as useless as a squirrel with a fucking nut allergy. I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. Anytime someone goes on the deep web, it's always, they see like fake firearm sites and other things like that. Or these weird ass pages where it's like, did you know that humans come from slugs? We are half slug people. Slug. It's like, what are you talking about? It's just schizo posting and like fake hitmen. That's the entire deep web in a nutshell. And then some other person was like, Cold Raven, you should totally go on the deep web on a live stream so we could see it. First things first, no. Second thing, oh yeah, guys, what could go wrong going on a unmonitored system and clicking on random links that I don't know where they're going to lead to live in front of 1 to 500 people? What could go wrong? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm sorry. To that one person who said that, you know what I should say, but I'm not going to say it. You say it to yourself. Say it for me. Anyway, moving on. After that, the guy goes on a black screen, right? So he's about to watch the video, but it's a black screen. Now, here's the thing with this story. He says it's a black screen, quoting for a while. Here's a problem I have with this. When a screen goes black on your computer, do you just stare at it like a fucking dog looking in the mirror? Or as soon as it goes black, do you hit refresh, or you just close out the tab and all this other stuff? You do a million other things than just stare at it with drool coming down your lips like you're mesmerized. What, are you hypnotized? No, you just click on a different page, open up a new tab, you do something else. You don't stare at it for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes. We can only guess how long he's done that for. But he says he stared at it for a while, and then the video starts. Oh, strap yourselves in. When the video starts, he sees a spotlight hanging from the ceiling. It's flickering, and this girl, she's sitting there, she's strapped to the seat with a blindfold on. And you get this guy who looks like Crossbones from Marvel. He's like the skull mask, he's covered in all these scars, like he's tangoing with the lion. And then he goes into the camera, and the camera's filming, of course. I mean, if it wasn't filming, how would you see it? And it's a live stream, by the way. Is it a live stream? He doesn't really specify. At a point he says live stream, then he says a video. He goes back and forth on this. But anyway, that doesn't matter. He goes into the camera, and he says the word onion, followed by a whole bunch of digits. Now, here's a problem I have with that. He doesn't specify what digits. He says he can barely hear them, but then he heard the word onion, but he couldn't make out the digits, which... Here we go again. With every time I have one of these creepypasta weird ass, like, I swear it happened, trust me, bro, stories, they always have spotty hearing, spotty seeing. Their senses are just dull. It's kind of like Daredevil with fucking earmuffs. He can't tell what's going on. It's always selective hearing, selective sight. It's always, yeah, I heard this first part, but you know the important part? Couldn't quite catch that. Why is it always that? And then it's always followed by, if I remember correctly, if I recall correctly. If anybody ever says, if I remember correctly, or if I recall correctly, just understand this much. They just turn into a 5-star gourmet chef, and they're about to feed you a 4-course meal of bullshit. Okay, understand that much. Because let's just break down if I remember correctly. Let's just break it down. If I remember correctly. So right there, you're already challenging what you're going to say, because you can't even remember correctly, under the pretenses that if you could remember correctly, you would say the truth. You would know. But if I could remember correctly, if I do remember correctly, so you're already challenging what's coming out of your mouth before you even spat it. So why would I listen to you? Why am I going to listen to someone who says, if I remember correctly? It's either you know it or you don't know it. Either you do or you don't. What's 1 plus 1? 2. What's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 9 plus 10? 21. You know, you gotta know these things, man. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. You gotta know these things. Just ignore that. You gotta know these things. Either you do or you don't. After that, you get a whole bunch of static, right? And it says it was an interference. Now, take a shot every time you hear the word interference. Because, shoddy internet, because we're on the deep web. And you get this guy, the Skull Mask guy from the Flash game, Skull Kid, right? And he comes around and he has scissors. Yeah, he has these scissors. But as the author tells, the guy who witnessed these horrific acts, these aren't any normal scissors. These are finger cutters. Okay, why does he say finger cutter? Like he knows these are finger cutters. Let me just say this much. I've been a plumber, an electrician, carpenter, engineer, a mechanic. I've never heard of a tool called a fucking finger cutter, okay? I've never heard of this tool. Like, it's just in your local Home Depot and Lowe's. You just walk right in. Hey, what aisle's the finger cutters? Aisle 12. I'll appreciate that. Hey, buddy, hold on. Before you go get your finger cutters, I gotta know, what's the special occasion? You know how it is, man. Wife's been being a bitch as of recent, so I just thought she'd lose pinky privileges. Like, no one out here is losing pinky privileges. Because if no one had pinkies, you wouldn't be able to promise. Everybody has pinky privileges. No such thing as finger cutters. Maybe it's like a PVC cutter, or it's just some sort of pipe cutter. I don't know. He puts the girl's finger in it, and guess what he does with these finger cutters? Cuts off her finger. Oh yeah, and then there's an interference. Oh, so now we're 2 shots in, right? And then the guy covered in all black with a green skull mask. Now it's like the Payday crew. Everybody has their own little mask. He shows up, and it's the scarred guy, with the other white skull mask. So these guys like the Skull Twins, right? He shows up, and he has like a syringe full of liquid, and he puts it into the girl's neck who's strapped to the chair, and he squeezes it all, and then she starts passing out, and then she stops squirming. Now, let me say this much. Where's he getting this pharmaceutical grade anesthetic? And let me say this much as well. Let me add this on. First off, where did he get it? Second off, if it takes this much to put me out, mind you, I'm 5'10", 220, 230 pounds at the time when I took an anesthetic because I was having a procedure done. If it took that much to put me out, a syringe full, what would that do to a 12 to 13-year-old girl? That's not going to put her out. That'd put her into shock immediately. That'd be just instant death. There's no, oh yeah, no. This guy's not a fucking pharmacist. He doesn't know what mixture or what amount to put there. This is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's just walking around with pharmaceutical grade anesthetic. Just walks right into like Rite Aid. Hey, can I get some morphine? Oh yeah, no problem. It just goes right about his day. Anyway, oh yeah, why need the morphine? Ah, man, later today I'm gonna be dunking some kids in acid. Oh, come on, you. Like, come on, people. Isn't that what's going on? Now, after that, guess what happens? Interference! And interference happens. And then the guy starts speaking broken English. And the creator of this weird-ass story says that he knows that he's speaking broken English, but he can't understand what he's saying. That logically makes no sense. So your English is so proficient that you can understand that he's speaking broken English, but you can't make out what he's saying. Like, if someone's speaking broken Russian, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even tell you if it was Russian in the first place, let alone if it was broken. But if you're speaking broken English, if you said, the Hat Rain Man, I'd say, what is that? The Hat Rain Man? What does that even mean? I'd be able to tell you what he said. It wouldn't make sense. It'd be jumbled, but this guy apparently knows what he said, but won't tell us. It's a secret. He zipped it, locked it, and put it in his pocket. And now the world may never know. It's so dumb. And then after that, you get a large space filled with bat subs. And he doesn't say it's a couple of bat subs. He just said it's filled with bat subs. So we can only assume it's 8 to 9 bat subs, which at that point, you got 8 to 9 bat subs installed into a room. That must have been a bitch to set up. Okay? You needed some hard workers for that. So now we know the ethnicities of these people are Mexican. Oh my God. Where did that come from? And then what happens is, these bathtubs are filled with liquids, not just any liquids, dark liquids. And there's just kids floating in there, like the acid stage from Mortal Kombat 2. And then after that, right here, here's where his 5-minute Amazon trial ends. The 5-minute Amazon, he's done. There's just no more. But, here we go. That's what he says. He's seen horrible things before, but nothing this bad. I'd agree. I'd agree with such a thing. And, this is so weird. He says, luckily, there were a couple of other people watching it too. Now, I gotta ask you a question. Define the fucking word luckily. What do you mean luckily? I would say that's unlucky. That's anything but lucky. That's the most unlucky thing ever. Who wants to sit there? Yeah, luckily I was watching kids get thrown in acid. Like, no, it's getting baptized. No, and then he also says conveniently there were other people watching it too at the same exact time, and that, you know, on the side of the screen it was showing how many people were watching it as well. Like it was some live stream, like it was like 80 to 90 people watching it. But let me take that back. He doesn't even specify how many people were watching. He said that there's a number, never gives us the number. And then conveniently, he says that there's an anonymous chat. So we are back. I'm going to pick up right where we left off on the convenience of there being a chat. The convenience of other people watching it. But no one else talked about it. Only this guy is talking about it. We can say if there was only 2 other people who watched it. There's not even one other story, but we know the way he kind of phrased it, it feels like there was 20 to 30 other people watching it. But at the end of the day, no one else has another point of view or perspective, just this guy. And then on top of that, he says that this whole entire video was paused. He pauses the video, right? He stops it. It actually wasn't a trial that cut him off, which is weird. He kind of goes back and forth on that. But then he goes ahead, the video's paused, and he asks in the chat, hold on, yeah. Did anybody else see what I saw? Did anybody else here watch the full thing? Someone answers with yes and starts to tell us the rest of the story, and it gets worse from here on out. And essentially we hear that there's a whole bunch of kids floating inside more acid, but now there's organs floating, just organs. So this acid's strong enough to dissolve muscle, dissolve everything except the organs, okay, conveniently as per usual. And then this girl that was sitting in the chair that was sedated by morphine or whatever it would be, she gets untied and put on the floor. And you know the guy with the scars and the mask on or whatever? He then starts doing things to her. That's the best way to put it. And then after that, you can see that the girl is still breathing because her chest is still rising, coming up and down. So she's still breathing. Then after that, some time passes, and then the guy double dips. There's just no other way to put it. And when that happens, the camera pans into the girl, and you can see one solo teardrop come from her eye. Oh, the dramatize. Shut the fuck up. This is so stupid. It's so cringe. Like, let me get this straight. Let me just put a pause. Let me hit the brakes for a second. Let's stand in front of this train and stretch out our arm. I don't suggest you do that. But here's what we're going to do. Why are you fanficking like this happening to little girls? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? And yo, it gets bad. It gets bad. So after this, after the guy's done doing this, right? It's where it gets real. Like, if you believe the story thus far, there's no way you believe it when I say this. The guy then sticks his hands in her like that, and then just rips her in half. It's in 2 slices. Yeah, and then he just chucks her into like the bathtubs. And now if you're gonna believe that part, wait to hear this part. Okay, you really have to do a lot of believing here, people. You really have to do a lot of believing. A guy who looks like Billy the Butcher in a black jacket, he comes into the room and he grabs a syringe. There's syringes aplenty here. He sticks it into the bathtub and he just absorbs a lot of this green liquid. And he grabs an empty sphere. Oh, you know where this is going. It's a clear sphere. The clear sphere. And he sticks the needle into the clear sphere. And he squeezes the liquid into there. And then you see the title. Green Ball. What is he, fucking Doctor Doom? Like, what is he, just a green ball? He's a Shang Tsung just collecting the souls of children? What does this do for anybody? It doesn't do nothing. And that's, dude, that ain't even the punchline of the story. That ain't even the punchline. Just hold on to your asses. Give me like 1 or 2 more minutes. So it ended with the words green ball. And of course the guy saw it as a kid. Can't find it anymore. You know how this works. He saw it as a kid. No one knows about it. Kept it to himself. Coming out about it. And now, before I tell you this ending, let me just summarize the whole story real quick. Let's do a quick little summary. So, guys, basement, kids in the acid. One girl gets finagled multiple times by this guy and then ripped in half. Blah, blah, blah. Hoo-ha, hey. And the author of such a tale states that I I guess I'll just read it verbatim, actually. If he would ever find it again, if he would ever find it again and get such an opportunity, he would surely download it. What the fuck? I mean, I can't even tell you nothing else. Why would you download it? Like, he literally, like, he grabs that stick, that flag, and he just puts it into the ground. He's like, I would. No! You shouldn't download a video where kids get dunked in acid, let alone a girl gets finagled. You should not. No, you shouldn't. And he's like, but I would do it just to know that there is proof. Are you sure that's the reason? Are we sure that that's the hill that you're going to stand on? You're surely going to die on that hill. I couldn't imagine you lived too long on that one. But that's how the story ends. What a great story. That's Green Ball. It's just nonsense. It is literally dribble. I couldn't understand how anybody would believe it. I just, like, Dafu Love sounded so ridiculous, but at least it was, like, realistic elements where some of the characters were, in fact, real people. So at least it was that, even though a lot of the details made no sense. A lot of the facts were completely wrong. You got Baby Burger where it was just complete fantasy, but at least they didn't go so crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? It was fantasy, it was stupid, but it wasn't like off the charts crazy. But this is just like, it's like fucking, it's not even something out of a movie. It's just like, it was like you were in a bullshit contest and you were going for first place, man. That's what this was, and you won first, second, and third place. I couldn't understand who would write something like this, and then even at that, read it out loud, especially with that ending where you literally wrote a fanfic or like this little story about a girl getting, oh my god, and you said you would download it. No! What are you doing? Like, oh, okay, buddy. Okay, pal. You do you. So with the end, that's Green Ball for you. A lot of people have been waiting for me to debunk it. I didn't think I'd have to debunk it. But with that being said, that's the end of the video. Like, favorite, share, most importantly, definitely comment and subscribe. Check out my Patreon for early access content and a whole bunch of other benefits. I'm your boy, Cold Raven. Peace.